Okay, so I'm not going to wait per se for people to join the chat, the live, because I know this was not anticipated. Um, I just decided to live tonight because Florida is heavy on my mind for various reasons. I do have, and know people, my colleagues, um, that I work with very closely are in the area that is intended to be affected. So, like, my mind has heavily been on that. So, you know what I like to do on Chris Popular Opinions. For those of you who've been here before, you know how I like to do. But for those of you who've not been here before, or who have been here before, have not, there you go, had been here before. Um, I just, I use my channel as an outlet to express myself. It's Chrissy's Unpopular Opinions because you may not like it, you may not agree with everything that I say here. Um, but opinions are welcome just as long as it's respectful. I'm going to give a disclaimer. I have a balcony and I left the balcony door open. So, yeah, a couple of flies got in, and that's what I'm dealing with right now. So, excuse the random Batman flying around here. But back to what I'm talking about with the natural disaster that's occurring currently in effect. I just kind of just want to express my thoughts on it, gain some more knowledge of it because I'm not really I don't really watch the news like that. I'm not gonna lie, I really don't. I get a lot of information on social media, like a lot of us these days, because a lot of times on social media they kind of give it to us. They give it to us straight. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of woman I am. I like it. Just tell me what it is. Don't fabricate it. Don't falsify it. You know what I'm saying? So, um, I'm even cool with allegations and conspiracies. I'm down with that, but I don't like things to be falsified. So, anywho, um, I didn't really know what was going on as far as like uh after North Carolina got hit and one of the was it the cities or towns got wiped away. I'm just like praying God, like, please cover Florida. Um we all take a lot of these like things as we take it for granted. You saying like me, I want to move. I want to move. But I'm actually perfect location within the US where we don't get hit with like very dangerous disasters or anything like that. But not saying that it can't happen with global warming. You know what I'm saying? So anywho, I just want to be more informative on this. So I do have a couple of clips that I want us to listen to, a couple of live recordings that's happening on live now from Fox, live now from Fox, and then start listening into some keywords, um, looking up FEMA, getting a better understanding of what FEMA actually does and how if they're because I've been seeing some things about FEMA, miss information, people spreading like, oh, they don't have enough. I just seen something that stated they do have enough money, but I don't know. We're going to dive into that. Hopefully, by the grace of God, I don't get dinged. No copyright. I do not own anything that you hear outside of my voice. Okay. Yeah, that's the only thing that I own. So if you hear something music wise or something that I'm playing, I'm going to play this as streaming. Okay. But just know I don't own the copyrights to anything, any music or anything, any recordings that you hear. I'm playing it for fair use only. just for us to gain a better understanding of what's happening with this Milton's hurricane, what's going on with FEMA, and like what to expect for real, because I'm kind of out of the loop, but I have like some, I know a little something enough to like raise my, antennas. Speaking of, what raised my antennas was the other day, like I seen, because I'm just naturally like really into learning about natural disasters. I love watching, anything. Don't mind the fly. I left the balcony open for the latecomers. But for for me and my children, we really love like the Discovery Channel, the Weather Channel, where they give like different series and updates on, natural disasters. So naturally, I'm just intrigued when I see anything, about it, geoscience, all that. I like seen a post because I haven't really been on social media like that, but I seen the post and I clicked into it and I'm like, oh snap, like there's another hurricane on the way. And I've seen a lot of people in the comments like, downplaying the severity of the situation. But there was one person, I wish I would have screenshotted. I wish I knew what post and what like page it was on, not channel, but page. It was on Instagram. But it was like one person out of every comment that I seen, this person was just pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. And they ended up turning out to be right. And for some reason, I felt they were right. That's why, it intrigued me. I'm like, what's going on? This person was in the comments just steady, like giving mad info. A fun fact that I learned that makes so much sense, in the comments, this person stated that you have to watch for like hurricanes and stuff like that, the Pacific and Gulf, Mexico Gulf, all that coastlines. You have to watch like the Caribbean Weather Channel updates for a real hurricane or tropical weather storm update, because they, from the Caribbean side, according to this person that was in the chat, in the comments, I mean, they were saying like, they take a look at a broader coast. Their satellites or whatever they have, their technology that they use, give a better range of what's gonna happen. So that person was saying about 2 days ago that like this person was like steady in the chat, steady in the comments. I keep saying in the chat, that's the YouTuber in me, but steady in the comments like, this is about to happen. You guys need to take it serious. Like, check the, like, just giving mad info. And I was just like, they sound like they know what they talking about. You know what I mean? But the Floridanians, or whatever you call them, the people in Florida, they was just like, we don't really trip out over that too much. I'm telling you, that's how a lot of Florida, we're going to look up how to pronounce that properly. But yeah, they just wasn't really taking it serious, and this one person was just giving a lot of facts that turned out to be true. So for future reference, those who travel, those that are located above the southern border, in the Caribbean area, try watching the Caribbean weathercast forecast in Florida. Try to keep your ears to the streets in the Caribbean forecast. Listen to the Caribbean meteorologists, because they have a broader scope of what's going to happen, a bigger, better advantage, because they were able to see things and give you the severity of the situation days ago. Of course, not for nothing, but I'm not surprised this country doesn't do things like that at all. But just a little tidbit, something that I took in that, I just felt like that was just really interesting to hear. Outside of that, we know that it's now like, from what I heard then up until now, it's consistent as far as category 5. They were saying that it was going to be a third one. There were going to be back to back to back hurricanes, and this one is, predicted to be massive. If you popped in here and there on, social media, you've seen that there was a meteorologist. I'm not sure from when. I was working today. Okay, I promise I was working. Just happened to pop in real quick, but I did catch that a meteorologist actually shed tears behind what they visibly seeing, on the screen, on the monitor, through the satellites. And yeah, I know a lot of people are like, wow, that's heavy, that's deep, that's something to take into account, and it is. But let's really think about how deep that is. For a meteorologist, it's probably something that he never seen. I just heard on what I'm about to play now, or in a few, I stop talking. I just heard them say that this was like a once in 100 year kind of thing, So I just want us some more knowledge. I want to gain some more knowledge and understanding, and I'm very, very, very concerned about my colleagues in Florida. Like, I'm very concerned, like very. So I'm doing this video to kind of just calm my nerves, give myself some insight, and just see what we're working with. And, not be misinformed or just gather information as I see fit. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Once again, I don't own the copyrights to this music. I've seen people pop in and out. I would love it if you guys start giving me likes, because at this point I have 0 likes. And if you haven't subscribed, I also would adore it if you subscribe. Thank you. And FYI, for those of you who are new here, I'm a nerd. Nerd by nature. Okay, and all right, so let's get into it. Whew. I gotta turn this off. This is like I'm playing another video. You can stop. Okay. I'm gonna turn this up, and I'm just going to listen and react to it as I see fit. Once again, I don't own the copyrights to this music. If you guys hear something that you feel like you want to comment on, go ahead, be my guest, comment on it. So this is live now on Fox. Now
from Fox, I'm Andrew Kraft. We do have our X-Rad weather system up, tracking Hurricane Milton. You see him there, still quite a ways west of western Florida, but barreling through. He's expected to make landfall later tomorrow night, so we'll be on the air for it, of course, here. But in the meantime, we do want to hear from some of our station partners in Florida, including Fox 13 in Tampa. This is how they just started off their 10 p.m. newscast. Let's watch.
Yes, I have my wine. I hope you do too.
It's a race against the clock.
There's a strong possibility this will be
stronger
than before. Get out now. Evacuate now.
You have until tomorrow morning to get to your safe place ahead of Hurricane Milton.
That is hold on, guys.
You really only see in the movies.
Many are heeding tomorrow morning to
look at this.
Get out now. Evacuate now.
You have until tomorrow morning to get to your safe place ahead of Hurricane
Milton.
Up.
That is something that you really only see in the movies.
Many are heeding the warnings.
Pretty concerned about it.
Yellowstone.
I'm severe COPD, so without my oxygen, I can get trouble.
Getting out of
the traffic makes me feel hopeful that people are taking this seriously.
And bracing for what the storm brings to our coast.
What are you going to do? It's Mother Nature.
And that Mother Nature is powerful. Good evening. I'm Allie Corey.
Okay, pause real quick. One in the chat for, I believe it's Mother Nature. 2 in the chat for, I believe it's geoscience. It's manipulated by the government. 4 in the chat. Oh, wait, how many? 3 in the chat if you believe that it's a little bit of both. Yeah, there is no 4. But anywho, that's what I want to get into. Do you believe that this is something that is naturally happening? Do you believe it's like behind global warming? Global warming, we all play a big part. A lot of things that people don't take seriously is keeping it green, me included. But I do be trying when I can, but me included. I know there are people that 100% don't participate in anything outside of green, and shout outs to you guys for doing your best to, keep it green. But I know there are people that 100% don't participate in anything outside of green, and shout outs to you guys for doing your best to, keep it green. But I know there are people that 100% don't participate in anything outside of green, and shout outs to you guys for doing your best to, keep it green. But I know there are people that 100% don't participate in anything outside of green, and shout outs to you guys for doing your best to, keep it green. But I know there are people that 100% don't participate in anything outside of green, and shout outs to you guys for doing your best to, keep it green. But I know there are people that 100% don't participate in anything outside of green, and shout outs to you guys for doing your best to, keep it green. But I know there are people that 100% don't participate in anything outside of green, and shout outs to you guys for doing your best to, keep it green. But I know there are people that 100% don't participate in anything outside of green, and shout outs to you guys for doing your best to, keep Earth as healthy as possible. But yeah, so you believe that this hurricane is caused by like global. Okay, so that is number 4, global warming. So we have one, Mother Nature or God. Number 2, we have, what was the other one? Number 2, we have manipulated by the government. Number 3, a little bit of both, like Mother Nature and government. And number 4, us, global warming. Yeah, so if you come across this later, just leave it in the chat because I'm not seeing any comments. It's so sad. I'm only seeing one likes. That's even more sad. But we're going to get back into this video and I'll share my thoughts on where I stand a little later.
And I'm Mark Wilson. We're so glad to have you with us. Many of us will go to sleep tonight wondering what in the world tomorrow will bring. Just know this, though. We're all in this together with you tonight. You're in your safe place. You're going to have a little bit of time to do it tomorrow before the tropical storm force winds do arrive in the Tampa Bay area. Bridges to barrier islands closed at 7 p.m. Families up and down the coast have told us they learned their lesson from Helene just a few weeks ago, so they're not taking any chances. And our team is ready to get you through this storm. From Citrus County to Sarasota, we've got you
Global
covered.
warming, Courtney
Let's start tonight here at 10
Fitzgerald.
with our chief meteorologist.
Did I
Paul
see you in my
Delgado with
chat
the very
before?
latest traffic.
That last thing
I think
Thank
tonight's
you.
important. You need a good night's sleep. You want to be refreshed and alert.
We're going to bring this back because this is important. This is important. They're boarding up houses. They're boarding up businesses, establishments. That's what they're doing right now. And they're giving like a list of preparation, to prepare for Milton. Audited him, I guess, with the name Milton. And this is not a mic. Take this off. I guess I'm going to just sit here like this because it's the way I have this position. He said it's been a minute. See, I know who be in the chat. I recognize y'all. Okay. But thank you for coming back. I appreciate it. All right, so let's get into this. And yeah, I had it all set up. Someone told me I might end up just moving the camera, but y'all know I have this mic piece on, and the way it's sitting up on the phone and the stand I'm using, if I tap it too hard, it's just gonna go over. So we're gonna see if we can do this, okay? But yeah, here's the preparation for the what am I doing?
Bay Area. Barrier Islands closed at 7 p.m. Families up and down our coast have told us they learned their lesson from Helene just a few weeks ago, so they're not taking any chances. And our team is ready to get through this storm. From Citrus County to Sarasota, we've got you covered. But let's start tonight here at 10 with our chief meteorologist, Paul Delgado, with the very latest track.
Mark, you said sleep. I think
10 with chief meteorologist Paul Delgado with the very latest track.
Mark, you said sleep. I think tonight's important. You need a good night's
Chief
sleep. You want to be refreshed and alert tomorrow because it's a long day tomorrow, and for a lot of you, it's going to be a rough night tomorrow night. So get a good night's sleep tonight. We're tracking it all night long, and you can see on the satellite presentation, a couple things really stand out to you. Notice now that the trough is finally picking up Milton, and it's going to accelerate northeast. Now, the steering currents of this, there's a ridge here, high pressure. There's a trough because we're kind of getting towards the winter season. That's dipping into the Gulf of Mexico.
Which is the warm air.
Kind of forming along.
Hold on.
Kind of like a boundary.
That's why, if you all don't know, if some of you don't know, that's why hurricanes happen. Is that hot and cool air that is circulating and causing that eye to form. Yeah. And it's wild. And it comes from like the Gulf and the Pacific Ocean where they collide, like the air that comes from there. I think it's like the cool air and the warm air. Don't get me to lying. Let's bring this back there.
Front. These trough because we're kind of getting towards the winter season. That's dipping in Gulf of Mexico. These showers and storms are kind of forming along. It's kind of like a boundary or a front. This is going to ride in between the high and the trough, and the speed will accelerate. Once this thing gets going northeast, we'll have a higher confidence on the exact landfall point. I wish I could say right now, it looks like this county or that county, but the storm is still 400 plus miles away. and it's beginning to turn. So it's difficult to pinpoint at 5-10 miles, even though those 5-10 miles makes a big difference. Tonight, areas of rain, a couple of big thunderstorms too, and some of the storms earlier produced quick spin-up tornadoes down in Collier County. That's not impossible later tonight. Then tomorrow, the rain kind of picks up in intensity, the wind too, and the worst times tomorrow, like mid-afternoon into Thursday morning. Here are the numbers. Still a Cat 5. Top winds 165, speed picking up. East-northeast at 10. It'll be northeast later tonight. The atmosphere, the conditions here in this part of the Gulf, almost pristine for development and intensification. However, hurricanes are tough to maintain at Cat 5 because everything in the atmosphere has to be perfect. Once something goes off kilter or off base, then the hurricane begins to weaken. And that is going to move towards us and get in an environment that is not as conducive to maintain intensity. Sounds good, isn't it? But it really isn't, because it will still make landfall as a powerful hurricane. And as it begins to weaken, the wind field begins to expand. And we talk of categories, 3, 4, 5. It's a big deal. Categories are not, they're not meant to discuss storm surge. It's all about the wind. So though the hurricane could approach our coast as a category 3, the storm surge is not going to improve. It's not going to begin to drop because numbers have dropped.
One second. What did you
It
just
could
say?
approach our coast as a category 3. The storm surge is not going to improve. It's not going to begin to drop because these numbers have dropped. It's still a big wall of water. And instead of a hurricane paralleling us, like Helene and Debbie, this is going to run into us. So it'll bring the water with it and push it onshore. On top of that, you'll have very strong winds south center that'll move onshore. This track obviously is, and at home you're saying, oh, I see a little shift to the south. Yeah, what happened today was the hurricane drifted a little bit to the east and south more than the Hurricane Center anticipated. So the 11 o'clock advisory they put, when the storm moved east, it kind of left that track. And there was no way at 5 o'clock, the latest track advisory, that they could continue the advisory they had because it was too far east. So the only option they had, really, is to move south because there was no way it was going to recover and go over Tampa Bay. We will see in subsequent runs between tonight and tomorrow, running out of time, if there's a shift back north or further south. Here's the model plot.
Okay, well, we're praying, claiming in the name of Jesus that there is a shift. Okay, like the God I serve is sovereign and almighty. He had the first and last say. He commands the winds. He commands the seas. Okay? All right. So that's just, if we all on just in unison, at the end of the day, this world does too much. It does too much. God promised not to flood the earth. You know what I'm saying? But he ain't say certain areas, you know what I'm saying? And God's wrath, is beyond anything that we can ever imagine. So it will mean a lot if, we all can just come together in unison, because God doesn't like division. He doesn't like a lack of harmony. This is one of the reasons why I'm doing this here live tonight, to bring harmony, to bring unity, into place, and where we can all touch and agree and just pray for Florida and pray that that shift happens where, Florida is totally, unaffected by, by Milton or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I'm praying for. I'm praying that whoever comes across this is praying for the same thing. It's just a lot, and it's scary. It's scary, and you have a right to be afraid. But at the end of the day, if this thing is going to go forward, because at the end of the day, we serve a sovereign God. So it's not up to us. It's not, what's meant to happen is meant to happen at the end of the day. So I just pray in Jesus' name that, as many that can, submit their lives to Christ before this day is over, or before this thing takes into effect, or whatever the case may be, before this thing hits, I pray that they find Jesus. Whether this thing hits or not, I pray that they find Jesus. And I pray that that's just what this is all about. Getting people humble thyself, getting people to a place of humility, a place of reverence, you know, a place of honoring. You know, it's been too much blasphemous, too much, you know, sometimes, you know, according to God's word, sometimes there was a purge, you know what I'm saying, in a different type of way. So I'm just praying that we can all touch and agree and just pray this thing away. And no more lives are affected.
Not on this graph. There's a whole suite of pure hurricane models that are not included. Generally speaking, this evening, they're clustered Tampa Bay south. I think if you're saying where landfall happened, Paul, I think it's certainly much less. I don't think it's going to make landfall in this county or Hernando, probably not Pasco. It seems to me to be mainly Tampa Bay south. We'll see what the Hurricane Center says at 11 o'clock. The storage numbers, again, this is all dependent on the landfall point. I really don't this graphic because if you're watching at home again, okay, I live up here, we're going to have this much storm surge. No, you're not. If the hurricane makes landfall here or here, they're wrong because the winds go this way. But this is what the hurricane puts out because they have to kind of broad brush it until we know where landfall is. I would think higher storm surge numbers this way, south of the track, and less, assuming the hurricane makes landfall south of that area. Now, this is critical. We'll talk about this quickly. I'm running out of time. I think the tide concern is going to be this one. High 6:51 a.m. on Thursday. High 3:37 Thursday morning. High 3:37 Thursday morning. And then Sarasota high 4:21. If you're watching me inland, we're not forgetting about you. We'll talk about.
Okay, so another takeaway is that it's giving to expect Milton like later on in the evening and things to intensify by like 2 a.m. like 2 a.m. in the morning. That's where things are at its highest, 2:30 in Clearwater, like 2:37 in Clearwater, 2:38 in Anna Maria, 3:25 in Sarasota, and Tampa Bay 5:50. So that thing they're expecting to rotate, you know, in this whole like southern section while people are supposed to be asleep. And that's why they said that, you know, get a lot of rest because it's going to be a long night. Now it makes sense.
Wind impacts inland coming up at 10:20, and also some of the rainfall numbers may be over a foot in spot. All the hurricane hazards are in play. We'll talk more in about 20 minutes. Back to you.
All right, well, we'll see you then. Evacuation shelters are open up and down the coast, and you do have a little time to get in the morning before those conditions deteriorate. And we have a county-by-county list. It's on our website to make sure that you are safe from the storm.
I'm just thinking about my colleagues, guys. Like
tonight,
I have,
probably noticed there were not
my
a lot
team
of
is a
options
small
still
team.
open.
My small team up here, and I work in another state from where I live, but my team is like a small team compared to the rest of our team in the rest of our department. Like our department is in like mostly in Florida, definitely North Carolina as well. But I'm really, really, really concerned because my team I'm a part of, been a part and connected to. Ooh, like I'm just really trying, like I'm such an empath and I'm really just trying to keep it together. Like I want to cry just thinking about it, you know, just thinking about like everything that they have to go through to prepare to evacuate. Like I was peeping game today. I'm looking at the Skypes. I'm looking to see, and I'm seeing people logging out extra early. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, you know, just like I don't like this type of stuff, you know. I really don't. So I'm just praying. Okay, just trying to calm my nerves and just pray for the best. But somebody like me is just very realistic. I live in reality. I understand that, you know, I can pray all day, but what's meant to happen is going to happen regardless. So, you know, I just have to acknowledge God and his sovereignty, you know. But hopefully, gracefully, there'll be some glory to God coming out of this. Some stories of people praying and miracles happen, how they survived, you know, this hit. You know, that's what I'm looking forward to. Just like, you know, with 9/11, you know, when that happened, and there was stories even in amidst of that disaster, there were more people that were saved and made it out alive than there were casualties, you know? So if anything, I'm just praying for the best overall. You know? It's not my will, it's not your will, it's not our will. It's a sovereign God's will. It's a sovereign God's will, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. On this channel, in my house, we will serve the Lord, thy God. Okay? Period. So back to, y'all can't be looking at my business.
Time is running out to get your food, your water,
For
home
nothing.
prepared. Our Fox 13's Genevieve Curtis is live for us in St. Pete tonight. So, Genevieve, being out there today, what have you noticed?
Schoolwork.
Allie, well, this is Beach Drive tonight, and you can see it is very empty. It's very unusual to see such a popular area so empty this time of night. But this is an indication of how seriously people are taking those warnings. This is one of those evacuation zones where businesses had to close at 5 a.m. today. So all the businesses in this area were closed. But as we traveled all over St. Petersburg today, we found many other businesses not even in evacuation zones were also closed, just showing how many people are heeding this warning and taking this seriously.
And we are into the final hours.
Hours of preparations in Pinellas County for Milton. And for some,
cry.
there isn't much left to do. All businesses in zones A, B, and C closed at 5 p.m. Even some grocery stores like Publix were closed. Few places, Home Depot, remained open for those finishing up.
I gotta stop doing that. They mentioned Publix. The last time I was in Florida, I had an amazing time with the kids. That probably is what sparked those videos of me swimming, for those of you who actually subscribed. Yeah, I need to make this bigger. Those were shot in Florida. My children and I, first time traveling, out of state by plane together, was to Florida. I'm one of those. My first vacation, I was pregnant with my youngest daughter, Baby Moon. Florida, so I have a huge attachment to Florida because we've been going there every year for like the last 3 years. And when we were there earlier this year in January, I was getting tan in January in Florida. We stayed at 3 different places. We stayed at Fort Lauderdale, we stayed at Pompano Beach, and we also stayed at Wilton Manors. And we just had an amazing time. And I really have a connection to Florida. I said it's not a place that I will actually move to, even though I can, because obviously, I have an office there that I can go. But it was a lot of things, that I had to consider. And obviously hurricanes are one of them. We experience snowstorms, but not necessarily hurricanes. So, and we hurricanes, I'm not gonna lie, Hurricane Sandy was like one of the big ones up here, northern eastern parts, okay, of the US. But I don't know about no Miltons, That aside, like Florida is like my home away from home. That's me and my children's home away from home. I literally had so many homes in Florida away from home because that's my thing. Like when we travel, I tell my kids, this is our house. You know what I'm saying? Like this is where we live for a week. I paid rent here. This is our house. You can say we lived in St. Thomas for, that's how I look at it. So very much so home. Every home that I rented in January, I rented 3 homes, y'all. I can tell you because there was a snowstorm out here. Flight got canceled, so I had to cancel. Like it was massive that had to happen. I ended up spending like 4,000 or 5,000 unnecessarily. I was so prepared and then I wasn't. So I learned from my mistakes from that trip. But anywho, nonetheless, we stayed at 3 homes and we had 3 pools, private pools, and nice rooms and bedding and everything. So, so Florida is really home to me. So I also have like a connection to it. So I'm very attached to Florida. Very attached to Florida outside of my livelihood, my colleagues, you know what I'm saying? My manager, my director, like, oh my, like, I can't, I'm just praying, you know, just praying, just praying, just praying, just praying. And I love that they are taking it seriously, because I was seeing in the chat where people are like, oh, you have to talk to Floridians. We're going to call them Floridians until somebody tell me otherwise. But we have to talk to them like that for them to take it serious. So I'm glad they got the picture. I'm glad they taking it serious, because 2 days ago, literally a day ago, I brought it up. I'm not going to lie. I brought it up. I'm like, hey, are you guys good? You know what I'm saying? Folks was like, yeah. But literally 2 hours later, they're like, know? So yeah, I have an attachment to Florida. So another reason why I'm doing this video, another reason why I've been posting little things, clips and stuff of me in a video in Florida, you know, and I will continue to, because I'm giving Florida its flowers. My people be like, why you never post these videos? I don't know, but I just feel like now is the time, you know, because at the end of the day, you don't know what's about to happen with this hurricane. It was able to capture a lot of beauty, you know what I'm saying, of it, you know. A lot of times, like, I know up here, you know, with Hurricane Sandy, mother effer, that's a S, an S, hurricane. So one thing that I learned about like hurricanes is like, the further you are in the alphabet, the further their name is, you know. Like you got Helen, that's H. And then you have Milton, that's M. The further you are in the alphabet, the hurricane name is, the more severe it is. So it's like Hurricane Sandy was like, it was very devastating. It wiped out like that whole AC area, whatever, right along that coast right there. But I haven't been there since before Sandy, I don't believe. But 'cause that's really not my, I can't do the AC beach. It's very crashy. But I have not been there since, but since before or whatever. But I did hear that they did rebuild it back. You know, they finally got it together. But from my understanding, it took some years. It took some years to get it, you know, back to a state. I don't even know what's going on, you know, where Hurricane Katrina, you know, happened, if they were ever able to full cover. But you know, Jersey is one of the richest states. So but we're gonna get more into that as far as like FEMA, like supposedly supposed to be for things like this. So we'll get more into that. I just want to get as much as I can from this. This is something that plays 24 hours a day. They do that. So if you miss, you can always go back to it. You can press rewind here, or you can go back to it yourself. This is on live, live from Fox on YouTube, and it's just a reoccurring video of whatever they've been playing all day.
That's good for Brian Perret, who still has work to do on his home in Campbell Park.
We've got buildings that are over 100 years old. They've never seen this kind of wind. They've never seen this kind of rain, and it's coming. Be scared.
He was planning on riding out the storm at a co-working space downtown.
It's a very sturdy building. It's hurricane rated.
But at the last minute, because a few large cranes downtown can't be secured, he says the fire department told them they had to leave that space, leaving him resorting to the fire department because a few large cranes downtown
that
can't
thing
be secured.
I wish this was a touch screen.
Told them they had to leave that.
Do MacBook, do Apple have a laptop that's a touch screen? Because I'm reading this to my daughters. Amateur adolescent behind MacBook Air. I feel like the Pro might have. I need a touch screen. I'm so used to touching, even at work. But anyway, y'all see those cranes? Did y'all see the buildings? It's crazy. Okay, let's see what they said.
Space, leaving him resorting to plan B.
My plan was to bring me and my dogs here and ride the storm out. Now I got a plan to ride the storm out back at home.
Options are still available. The county opened additional shelters in Clearwater and St. Pete, including Melrose Elementary, Campbell Park Elementary, and Clearwater Fundamental Middle School. Families have already started arriving to the shelter at Gibbs High School. More than 6,000 people are finding refuge at county shelters, and officials want you to be in a safe place soon.
We're going to get hit, and it's going to be hard.
And speaking of those shelters, we have met people today who didn't really know where they were going to go. We told them that the county has opened additional shelters. That shelter at Melrose in St. Petersburg is where somebody told us they didn't know it was open, and they're going to head there tonight. So those shelters are open. They want you. They will take care of you there. As far as these businesses go, the sheriff said that they've had a lot of compliance from businesses on the barrier islands, and St. Petersburg police telling us that they do have the option to fine and arrest owners not closed. But from what we are seeing, it seems that most people are heeding those warnings and those businesses are closed. Mark.
I'm about to say, who is forcefully staying open? Like, you gotta charge people and fine people because they don't want to close. Like, workaholic much? I'm a workaholic, but I'm a mother, and I definitely consider self-care at the highest form. Okay, so I would have been out. They would have said that 2 days ago. I would have been like, okay, I'm leaving. I'm gonna use my 1+ hours of PTO
All right, Genevieve,
remaining.
Live Force Genevieve, thanks much. Also tonight, traffic is moving a little bit.
All right, so that's enough here. Okay, so we got through it. We got through the little update or whatever, but we're not done. We're going to do some more investigation. Period. All right, so I want to get a better understanding of FEMA. I know you probably like, you don't know what that means. Put it in the chat if you know what it means. I'm looking at it. Oh, first thing that people also ask, what does FEMA mean? Federal Emergency Management Agency. How many of you knew that? Huh. I didn't know that. Yeah, so Federal Emergency Management Agency. I guess the title speaks for itself. So what are you doing? Okay. So they know who is okay. Disasters for survivors may call. Okay, that's good to know, or good notes. There's a FEMA disaster line, a disaster assistance information line that, for all the survivors. I know a lot of people are boarding up their homes and houses, and by the grace of God it stands. I know for me personally, especially the last time I was in Florida with the kids, I noticed that I finally noticed shutters. I finally knew what shutters were. I heard people talk about it. A lot of Floridarians. Which one is it? Help a sister out? Anybody from Florida? Probably not. Okay, so yeah, I know there's a lot of Floridarians. I don't feel like I'm saying that wrong. We're gonna look that up too, how to properly pronounce that, because that's what I do. If I don't know how to pronounce the word, I Google it and I listen to it, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Anyway, I noticed a lot of them. For those of you who survived after this hit, that boarded up houses and, establishments and things of that nature, they have a disaster assistance line, and it's 1-800-621-3362. So it's the FEMA's, I guess, not national. I guess we can just say country across country line with federal government agency. So I don't know. I don't know their reach. I don't know. I guess our federal. Yeah. They have a line where you can contact. Yes, it's a U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Okay. That's what it is. So, an agency, okay, so the Federal Emergency Management Agency, also known as FEMA, also known as FEMA, is an agency within the U.S. Department of Homeland Security with responding to presidentially declared disasters. Did y'all president declare a disaster? Did y'all president or vice president declared a disaster? Because I didn't know that. Now, I know there was some government agencies that have declared a disasters, but from what I seen, it looked like it was the Caribbean agencies. Not so much. Well, I didn't see anything on, y'all president in the U.S. So I don't know. That's just what it says. An agency within the U.S. Department of Homeland Security charged with funding to presidentially declared disasters. So, but I did see something. Where did that go? Because that was definitely on here. I wanted to show you guys that. Okay, so we might have to go back to this because they do traffic cam right now. But I definitely seen in one of the clips that I had to like rewind back, and I definitely seen them say something about Biden or somebody in the White House staying put. Like they had canceled their plans of leaving. I'm not sure where they were planning on going, but they're not doing it now. They're staying put in the White House. Everybody's, taking refuge there. So, pertaining to the White House and them. So yeah. So we're probably going to have to get back to this. So I'll get all this FEMA stuff aside because I guess this is a cute little commercial break, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So we have a natural disaster number for the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Once you survive, because you will, you're more than a conqueror. That means your life, you got some more things to do than conquer a hurricane or three. You got some things to do. You do. So once you survive, there's the FEMA hotline, the disaster hotline. And once again, take notes for your Floridanians, family members. 1-800-621-3362. And that's that. Let's see what more info we can get. What does FEMA protects against? The National Protection Framework describes the way that the whole community safeguards against acts of terrorism, no S, natural disasters, and other threats or hazards. So, okay, that's good to know. So not only do they protect you and act in aid in natural disasters, but overall threats. So me being, a cybersecurity recruit, cybersecurity student, we don't just focus on, tech threats. We focus on the over threats that things could happen. Me working in finance come on, the fly. Me working in financing and knowing that the corporation that I work for is very big on this. We always have to have backup in case natural disasters occurs, terrorism occurs, when it comes to financing a lot of money. Yeah, so FEMA acts in a protected, and actually I do know this. Don't tell my peoples at work that I had an airhead moment. Anywho, because we get trained on it every like 3 to 6 months. Anywho, required by the federal government. All right, I'm not going to do any more side talk. So terrorism, natural disasters, and other threats or hazards. So that could be health-wise. When we had the C virus floating around, FEMA, that's something that FEMA. Okay, tornadoes in Tornado Alley. If you don't know, do your research. Tornado Alley, Weather Channel, or just YouTube, or actually go see Twisters out right now. Yes, part of Twister. For those of you who loved that movie growing up in the 90s. And terrorism. So FEMA is responsible for the protection framework as a community that safeguards acts against those things. Okay? So yeah. So they don't just act on natural disasters, any threats, any hazardous situations pertaining to terrorism, natural disasters. So mainstream, we're not talking about something that your local police station can handle or detectives or, local government. We're talking something on a federal level. We're talking about something that affects us as a pandemic or epidemic. you know, on that level. There is a difference. Epidemic, something that happens like, for instance, Florida. Right now, this is a pandemic is something that happens like global, you know, like, well, yeah, like C virus, that global disaster, health wise, hazardous situations in just about every continent, but definitely not every country. Tanzania was one of those countries where wasn't affected. And you know why? Because them mother effers is vegetarians. Eat good. They eat good. Don't believe me? Watch a couple of those traveling vlogs to Tanzania. That's the one place I want to go to in Africa. One of many. I want to explore probably every daggone country, city, town there is. Do they have towns in Africa? All right, that's a me moment, and that's the nerd out of me, and that's something I'm going to look up later. Okay. So, what else, Kim? What does FEMA not cover? FEMA does not provide assistance for small businesses impacted by a disaster. Ooh, sorry. That's not cool. Okay, wait. Sorry. It says our partner, the U.S. Small Business Administration, also known as the SBA, offers low interest loans for business damage. Excuse you? I can't stand this country. I really can't. I promise you. I can't wait till I get me and my kids out of the tree. Because what is that? I'm a small business owner. You guys don't see it now. And whenever I feel like tapping into my business, it's still my business. It's still something I own. Chrissy Beads, see, that's my business. So we have to take loans, but meanwhile, the big rich companies are covered. Interesting. And I totally dropped the ball on that PPP loan because I was being noble, and the whole time I was justified. I could have took out the loan, and it was just I had a legitimate business. Okay, I could have used the business loan to finish getting my degree. Y'all ain't ready for that conversation, but yeah. Okay, so yeah, I mean, for those who are affected, who are small business owners, you not recover unless from FEMA, with no help from FEMA. You have to reach out to the SBA, who is the U.S. Small Business Administration. They offer low interest loans for business damage. Also do not offer housing assistance for secondary homes. Okay, only for primary residents. Okay, so we don't care about the secondary homes because you were fortunate to have two. But as long as you're primary residents, okay, we like that. I'm pretty sure there's probably more to it, but that's just what I'm seeing off of Google. You know what I'm saying? When in doubt, Google. So I feel like this is important because when I continue to play the rest of this video that we're looking at on YouTube right now on Fox, that question or something of the sort in regards to payment will come up. So it says, what does FEMA determine? Oh, how does FEMA determine payouts? So it says for each type of assistance, FEMA will look at your insurance payout and compare it to your verified loss or damage. Sounds like y'all need a good old bookkeeper. Let me tell you something about small business owners. We are the bookkeepers. Oh, did I punch it? Playing with me. Yes, I'm a hitter. Okay, so what reasons will FEMA deny you? So just based on these questions, it seems like in order to get some like relief fund from FEMA, if you qualify, which I need to look up the qualifications, but we won't do that now. We'll wait. But in order to get some of the, I guess the funding that they offer, I guess to businesses, families or whatever, we're not sure, but I'm just, just saying. I don't know. But there are you'll have to probably fill out like an application or something. I don't know. There's FEMA government agency buildings that you can actually go into, or is it just lines that you can call? If that is the case, I'm just putting this out here for those of you who are listening and looking. That means hiring, okay? Because a lot will be affected by this storm. Hopefully, it won't be a lot of casualties or anything of that nature, but people are boarding up houses. People do have shares and stuff like that. That's where I was going with it. I'll get back to that. But this information will be good for that. So there may be stations that you have to sign up for on the website, and this just gives you the rundown of something that qualifies you and disqualifies you. So common reasons for being denied: you haven't sent FEMA the documentation or information requested. That's a big one everywhere. I used to work in a documentation department in the financial firm. Okay. Your damage or loss is covered by your insurance or other sources. So for you who have like home insurance, rental insurance, and stuff like that, that covers a certain amount. You pay monthly, weekly, however much you pay. That covers amount of damage due to natural disasters or whatever that's related to that. They will deny you because you already paid for this. So that makes sense, not very much so handy for everyone or easily accessible, but it really does seem like for people that need it, they have this for you, except if you are a small business. Okay. Why is that phone going off? Anyways, okay, so if you file more than one application for your household access denied, that's a big one, because I can see somebody like submitting something and not knowing, like, like it's taking too long to process on your phone or your computer or laptop or whatever, and you're just like, resubmit. And now you have 2 applications in the system instead of 1. So just wait to clear. If it doesn't, I advise you to reach out to that 1-800 number. See, this is why I wish I had a touch screen. And lastly, there's more options. I'm just letting you I see on this page. FEMA was unable to verify your occupancy. Ladies and gentlemen, census. You never know. That's why you do things like census. Honest, that's really important. Let me just touch on that real quick. You do things like census just so that they can have a record of you and your household on paper. I knew that I had a German great grandmother who was married to my great grandfather because of census. I actually have the document saved on them doing a census, showing who was the children in that household and everything, the husband and wife, and yeah, because of census. So things like this where very much so, I find it interesting that they said they were unable to verify your occupancy. When you're going through a natural disaster, most likely you're going to lose it's possible you could lose all your vitals. Everything that's vital to your well-being, documentation included. You know what I'm saying? For people that, think ahead, you may have everything all in one space so that if it's time to go, you know where to go and grab it. You know what I'm saying? There's people that may not think that fast and that may not consider a natural disaster. Because I feel like if you live in Florida, you should be ready to go at any given minute, because hurricane season is real. You know what I'm saying? And any type of disaster that may occur, like earthquake, if you're in Cali, like wildfires in Cali, wildfires in Canada, bringing your smoke over here to the U.S. Wildfires there. I feel like you should just prepare for those type of things. Some people will have, like, what do you call those things? Deposit accounts? Can't think of it. Deposit banks. Where you go, like in the movies. I haven't had anything interesting yet to put into a safe, like a deposit safe. I feel like I'm saying this wrong, and I can totally Google it right now. You know what I'm talking about. Like one of those things. Keep stuff in there, but bring me back to my drawing board. FEMA was unable to verify your occupancy. If you lost everything, how else were you going to verify it outside of the census? Because census, that's recorded. I'm talking like my like the dates. One day, I'm not going to post it for y'all. I'm going to post it for y'all, but I'm going to just like sketch some stuff out so y'all don't see it. My business. But just so you can just see, like, even all the other names, it wasn't just like my great grandfather / German grandmother. It was a lot of other households that was on that list. And it's an old, like, it was a historic kind of document. This was from back in the day, but it's a photographic image of it. That's, I got it through ancestry.com. We'll get into that on another video, another time, eventually. But yeah, I will actually, if you want me to go over my ancestry results with you all, because I'm still digging very deep, because I still believe on the line, yes, my roots are in Africa, as us all, but I do feel like somewhere down the line, I have Caribbean roots. Like I'm telling you, I'm committed to proving this fact. So, and I came close to it last night. Norway, the Netherlands, there are something called the Caribbean Netherlands, but where the ancestry show my DNA, it wasn't located in the Caribbean Netherlands, it was located in Europe. And I just refuse to leave that. I'm telling you, I got too much Caribbean. Like, that's how I cook, that's how I dance. I love me some Caribbean men. Like, it's in my blood, and I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. Anywho, so yeah. FEMA was unable to verify your occupancy. First and foremost, when you get a chance, when they knock on your door, I know they're not the Jehovah Witnesses. And even if they were, take the pamphlet. Take the goddamn pamphlet. Okay? Take it. Okay? Here they have to say they don't mean no harm. There's an old lady that goes around here passing out them pamphlets, putting all over our cars and stuff like that. Then she one day caught her. Because I was like, who is leaving this? And I caught her, and she was an old lady. And she was like, could you open the door? Because, you need a key to get in this building. But I unlocked the door for her and let her do her thing. Just take the pamphlet. Okay? But yeah, census verifies your existence. That's why it's important. Not only does census verify your existence, it also verifies how much funding and how much, like, when you guys are the elections and stuff like that, that's what census are good for, to help prove, like, oh, we need more funding for this, more funding for that. If you're constantly closing the, like, they're Jehovah Witnesses, and you're not answering those questions, and them questions literally is really nothing. It's like, how many people in your household? How long have you lived here? Who's your mom and dad? How many kids you have? Like, it's really some simple-ish. It's really some simple-ish. Like, you can stand in that doorway and answer questions. But this will also be the reason why, because you never know when there's going to be a natural disaster, when there's going to be an epidemic or pandemic, and they can't verify your occupancy. So now you can't get no help. Now your access is denied. This fly is going to die. Yes. It is. All right. So it's so many other questions and stuff, but you got to get the gist. I can keep going on, but I'm not. And we're just over an hour. Okay. Wellington Matthias, hello from Brazil. Got people from all over the world. I want to go to Brazil too so bad, because I want to see the what's that Rio song? Ding 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 ding. Yeah, I want to go to Rio. Yeah, but shout outs to you, Wellington Matthias. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you come back, because I don't think you're here anymore. I hope you come back and see that I gave you a shout out. Period. Okay. That is, I feel like it's time to wrap this up. I'm still trying to figure out platforms where I can bring you all on board. I'm currently looking at another platform that I was going to entertain tonight, but we just got into information. Try to see if I want to. Yeah, it's 12 o'clock. So I'm just going to wrap this up tonight. May go back tomorrow and finish off this video to give us more information. This is the 24-hour live. So even if you don't come back here and you just still want like just a general coverage of what's happening, this live is happening at all times on Fox. Okay. We got a better understanding of FEMA. We got a better understanding of what to do after the natural disasters occur. Hotline call. This is for informative and touching purposes. Once again, to touch and agree. Okay, so for anybody that has caught this live tonight, I really appreciate you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really heavily thinking about the Mians, the Flordarians, the Flordanians, the Flordarians. I'm heavily thinking about them nonstop because I know a lot of people there that I work with every day that I have an attachment with. And also because it's my home away from home. It's my kids' home away from home. It's the first place we started to travel to together, you know. So I'm just praying for the best. I'm praying that, you know, I'm praying that Milton takes a turn for the best, not a turn for the worst. I'm praying that it shifts in a direction where it won't cause casualties. You know, a person may lose their home, a person may lose their business and establishment, and that's effed up, but at least we can still have their life, you know? And that's just what I'm praying. Excuse me. If it has to hit, I pray that everyone evacuates in enough time, in a timely manner, in due time. You know, I pray that everyone is well rested. They got the energy they need and the funding they need to maneuver, because I know that there are homeless people, as they mentioned in that live on Fox, that, you know, that a lot of people are having shelters in schools, bigger establishments, you know. So I'm just praying that, you know, everyone, no, there's nobody left on the streets. I pray that in Jesus' name. I just pray that. And I am curious about how does school shelters work, because I did just see the movie Twister, and I feel like they got like an underground bunker. You know, they got to be prepared for that. What I was going to say earlier is when I stayed in Pompano Beach, Wilton Manors and Wilton Manors and Fort Lauderdale, the house that we stayed in, they all had shutters, but one had shutters through and through. Like, that house was prepared, and the owners of that Airbnb, they're not from there. That's just one of their vacation homes, and they were Black. Shout outs to them. That's the videos y'all see me swimming in the last on that. Yeah, that's them. That's Pompano Beach. But anywho, if you need donations to get some decent clothes, please let us. If you wanted to come back just to say hi, you don't have to be so rude. I'm home. Why do we need decent clothes at home? You're here on my channel. I'm not here on yours. Okay? And you're lucky I'm in a good mood, because I wasn't offended. You said decent. I was like, I don't have clothes on. I have clothes on for once. For once in my life. Anywho, yes, you say too. Shout out to you for being a world's big hater during a time like this. Shout out to you. I bet you feel so proud. I bet your mama is so proud. So proud that she taught you how to be a hater instead of somebody of importance. Yeah. But yeah, no, I just wanted to throw the shade back, you know, because I was keeping it at first, but I don't need donations. I'm a corporate baddie, honey. I make money. Okay. Enough said. Anywho, outside of the negativity, because there's always just one who will not get blocked tonight, because normally I do block people, but I'm being forbearing tonight, and I'm practicing long suffering in light and dark of whatever is happening right now in this video. Okay, so bring it back to centerfold. I pray that, anyone that is possibly affected by it find shelter in their lives and livelihood is at stake. You guys go watch Fox Live to get the hotline number. Just look up FEMA to get their, hotline number and gain some more information and explore their website and see what it is they offer and the donations that you can actually donate to help FEMA and thing during a crisis in a time like this. Okay? Because you wasted all that energy to be negative instead of bringing your points to FEMA and this motherfucking fly. Anyways, outside of that, I will be back maybe tomorrow, maybe not. I gotta go back into the office to myself. It's gonna be a tough week, okay? But anyways, I hope everyone, hold on. The serums are ceremony. There we go. I just want to do a little flex just in case somebody else wanted to hate. Had to throw that in there since I needed donations. I'll take them. What is I on mother freaking Snap? Is it not Snapchat? What is it called? Cash App. Locked Chrissy. Locked LOCD CHRISSY. In case you want to donate to me for some decent clothes, maybe a decent personality. Locked Chrissy. Okay. All right, everyone. I hope and pray everyone has a blessed evening and continue to pray for Florida. They're going to be on my mind until we get this thing over with. And then we're still going to pray for them because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how hard it's going to hit. Okay, so everyone just be mindful and keep Florida in your prayers and also surrounding areas. We don't know what kind of turn it may hit. Continue to keep North Carolina in your prayers. They, from what I've seen and heard, they lost a whole town. Okay, we're not going to get into no conspiracies tonight, but for now, this is just what it is. Okay, so keep North Carolina, Florida, any surrounding areas in the South, the Caribbeans, anybody stranded, I don't know, on an island or something nearby. I don't know. But let's just all keep them mindful and in prayer. Okay? Peace and love and harmony, and be blessed. I'm doing this for the person that's needed donations, so I'm just trying to earn my donations. Yes.